So this is putting coilovers on your FC3S. These are some coilovers I got. Actually, I took them off my turbo car that's in there because I'm selling it and I'm keeping the coilovers. So first thing to note, I've already done the rears on this one. You can see they're in there. Pretty much you're going to take off these two nuts. On different cars you're going to get different nuts. I had a 12, a 13, and a 14 in different sizes. It's pretty straightforward for the back. You just take off these two and one underneath. I'll show you what the one in the bottom looks like. So this is the rear shock, and it's just a 17 mil in the back here, and that's just one nut that goes bolt that goes right through. And as you can see, this is the stock suspension. This is on the turbo car, and I'll show you what the front looks like. In the front, it's these four, and then there's two underneath, and they are both 17s. So this is what the fronts look like. There's actually two holes, you can see here and here. That's for the front suspension, and then I guess you can't really see, but the four up top. So I already pulled off the front on the turbo car. Note that you really shouldn't let this hang the way I did. It does wear out the little bushing at the bottom, your tie rod end bushings and stuff. So you should really actually support this up. I'm just leaving it now because I'm quickly going to swap over the other stuff. Also note that you want your nut to be on the inside, so close to the caliper, and your bolt head on the outside, just because if you're using an impact, it's a lot easier to get to this side with an impact than it is to get here because you couldn't get past the caliper. So it's a 17 in and a 17 on the other end. That's pretty easy to get to, and then there's one also on the bottom there. Sorry, my camera's a little off. Someone borrowed my camera and lost it somewhere in Montreal or California or something, and so I'm using my iPad to take this video. Now, it might not look like the same car, but this is the FC I did the polyurethane bushings on in the front end, and like I had mentioned at the end of that video, your actual whole front end will dip a little bit lower, and because of that, I actually wasn't able to get my crappy jack underneath the car, so I actually had to drive it up on 1-inch board so I could actually clear the space underneath so I could jack up the front to do the suspension. So there's what it looks like with the wheel off. As you can see, I still have my 4-lug and NA calipers. Eventually I will do the swap on this and put the T2 stuff. Things to note, as I said before, I don't know if I've said it before or if this will come later, but note that the bolt goes in on the outside and the nut is on the inside between the caliper and the shock. You want it to always be like this, or it's a pain in the ass to get an impact on here. So that's the best way to do it, and always put it back the same way, or you'll have a pretty bad headache. Also, always remember to take off this clip to remove your brake lines. Also, when you do all this, make sure you don't twist your brake lines. You don't want twisted brake lines. Mine is kind of twisted. It's not that good. It's really bad. And so that's about it. I'm going to take this all off, and yeah. A little comparison between your stock and your coilovers. Coilovers are a lot easier to work with. You don't have to worry about compression and compressing the spring to put them in. This is a lot easier, and by far I like a lot better. And there you go. Fully adjustable coilover suspension on an FC3S. Pretty straightforward. One last thing to note is for future, always, I probably said this in all my other videos, but always make sure you lubricate your nuts and bolts with anti-seize, just because if you need to swap stuff again. The nice thing about this car, I already did. I put T2 basic suspension on this, and I lubricated everything, which made putting this coilover stuff a lot easier. I didn't have to worry about stripping or breaking anything. I just put my impact to it, and everything came loose. And so that's it for now.